All right, welcome back to part two of how we get started on making our very own chunky knit blanket. You'll see that I have my first blanket with me. I always keep it with me, actually. I'm not sure if you even noticed it in the first video and I didn't mention it. But this is my first chunky knit blanket, and I'll hold it up a little bit for you. You can see all of the spacing, the big holes in it. Even on one side, you'll see where I dropped loops. So you see all these different tails. But it is my favorite of the blankets that I have made. No joke, guys. I always cold. I'm always cold. And even with all of these holes, I feel so warm with this blanket. So if you are struggling, it is okay. So this is part two, and in part two, we're going to learn how we actually create the loops to build out our blankets. As a reminder, in part one, we started with our foundation or our starter chain, and here's that starter chain that we have. Make sure you take a look at yours. And this is where I actually, this is actually where I use a pad when I first started. So I want to encourage you to have some paper and pen next to you. That way you kind of remember exactly what you have going on. I wrote down 19 or 20 because I have 20 loops, but typically those videos don't only count this one. So I'm telling myself I have 19 or 20 that I made on my starter chain, and we'll determine how many loops that make in a second. I can only tell you what I have learned from. I cannot tell you from others. There are others who will tell you exactly how many loops they should have. I use the spots within my starter chain. So definitely take a look at other videos if you like. So before we continue, I want for you to make sure that you share this video out with others. You sharing the video helps me build my followers, as well as get the word out that healing, joy, and inspiration can be for anyone. Also, make sure that you like, comment, tell me where you're watching from, tell me what else you would like to see, how you got started on chunky knitting with your fingers. If you also crochet, tell me about that. I tried crocheting. Go back and look at my earlier videos. My first video ever where I told you that that was an epic fail. And make sure you follow. If you have not already followed or subscribed across all my social media platforms, do that. And most videos you see me, but because this is a tutorial, I want to make sure you can see the table. And so you're not going to see my face, which is a little bit weird for me because I'm such a people-oriented person. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. So here is our starter chain one more time. We are going to start on this end where we have that loop hanging. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller now. So I pulled it in where it's no longer that 3. It's 2. I want to make that end piece smaller. It'll help your foundation on your side look a lot better, okay? Now, this is where I want you to pay attention. Right here, you see all of these loops. This is where you're going to go in and pull up another loop. So this one already has a loop, so you'll skip this one and you'll go to the next one. So your working yarn always goes in the direction in which you're knitting. So I'm knitting this way, so my working yarn will go this way. So you pick up that ball of yarn and you move it on this side. It just helps it flow a lot better for you, okay? So every time you go one direction, move that ball of yarn with you. You go back to your left, move it back to your left, okay? So you're working yarn, and now you're here. You're going to push in with your pinchers. We talked about pinchers in video 1. You're going to pull it in. So here we go. So pushing it in, and then we're pulling it up. Listen very carefully. On our starter chain, we did 3 fingers. For our blanket, we're going to do 2. I am a tight knitter. I don't have holes in my blankets like you see here. You could check out www.thechunkyKnitCraze.com to see all of my products. I am a tight knitter, so I'm only going to pull my loops up for 2 counts. There we go. You see 2 fingers. If you want it to be a little bit looser, do 3. I know some people who do 4. Totally your call. So that's 1 loop. Turn it over. And you don't have to turn it over, but I'm showing you how to find that spot. Here's your next one. You pull through that working yarn and you pull up. That's 2. Go to your next. Here. Pull it through. Now you're at 3. And you follow that same pattern until you get to the end. That's 4. So there are the loops that you're forming. Okay? All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4 plus your end, 5. Now do you see why I say 19 or 20? We'll see in the end. I'm almost certain it's 20, but we'll see. I've always known to get more. Now we go to the next and we pull up. We find our next one and we pull up. Someone says I invent loops and we pull up. But it always works out, guys. All right. So we go to our next and we pull up. Do you see how that's forming? And don't worry, your blanket's not building up. That's just our loops at this moment. I'll show you what to do. All right. We go to our next. We pull up. Again, here's our next little one. So we're going to pull the loop through using our pinchers. And I'll see you at the end. All right, I'm at the end, and now we're going to count how many loops we actually ended with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we ended with 20 loops, just like I predicted we would, and that is including this loop at the end, okay? So right now, I'm just going to take my 1 finger and push in each one to make sure it's nice and snug in there. Okay? This is something that I wish someone had shown me when I got started, and they didn't, hence why I ended up with all of these different holes, because I didn't know that there was so much spacing. All right. So you just added your first row of loops, and our working yarn is on our left, right? So we need to go back to the right. So we're going to move the working yarn to the right, and I'm going to show you one more time and then let you start building. So we have 20 loops. When we finish this row, we should still have 20. And I'm going to write 20 down to be certain that it is 20, because I had 19 or 20. Now I'm going to remove that 19 and I'm going to write 20 loops, because I'm certain that we are at 20 loops. So every time I count, I'm going to count 20. And if you're a beginner, you're going to count periodically, because the quicker you get the loop that you drop, the better your blanket will be. You'll see in this blanket, I didn't count. So when I dropped the loop, it dropped and I didn't catch it. All right, so here we go. I've moved my working yarn back to the right because I'm going to my right. Now I'm going to take the working yarn and I'm going to go into each of these loops. For the first loop only, we will go into it. But moving forward, we will not restitch this one again, and I'll explain. So here we go. I'm going to go in. I'm going to make another loop right through that loop. Take this loop, use my pinchers, go in. Remember, two fingers in our width. I'm going to go into the next, go in to the next loop, and you're going to follow this pattern throughout. So go in and just pull up until you get to that 2-finger width, and you keep moving. I'll see you all at the end. All right, we are at the end. Before I continue, I want to count my loops to make sure I'm still at 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I'm still at 20. Celebrate if that's you, and if it's not you, this is where you're going to pause and go back and see what you may have missed. You could always turn your work over to look and make sure that you didn't drop it somewhere, and that's how you can also take a look. So here's your back. Again, doesn't look beautiful at the moment, but it will. Just be patient. All right, so now we're at the end. As a reminder, I told you we would, on the other side, we knitted that first one. We're going to do the same here. We're going to give it one pickup, but moving forward, we'll drop it moving forward. So I'm going to loop it again, and typically, I'll make this a little bit smaller. Typically, you wouldn't, because it's going to make your border or your side look a little bit better. So this is the last time we'll pick up this side. And then you're going to go ahead and go through, pinch it, and come on up. Go through, pinch it, and come on up. 2-finger width, okay? Or you decide what you're comfortable with. All right, and we just keep doing the same thing again, and I will see you all at the end. All right, I'm at the end where I just placed that stitch in that last one. And you should remember I said we would not stitch it again. So that means we're dropping it, meaning I'm ignoring it and I'm skipping over it to go to this. So this does not get another loop until we come back around again. So move your working yarn to your right because you're going to your right. And this is the pattern for a beginner that you will continue to do. So let's knit until we get to the other end, and I'll show you, and we'll stop part 2 there. So again, just go and work your way all the way to the other end. I'll see you all when I get there. All right, we are at the last one. So I just looped it, and let's take a test. Am I going to put another loop in this end, or am I going to drop it and move to this? If you said drop it and move to your second loop, congratulations, you did it. So you understand the pattern. If you got it wrong, you're going to stop and pause this video, rewind it, go back, and make sure you understand it. For the rest of us, let's move forward with stitching until you run out of yarn, and then look for part 3. I will show you how to actually fuse extra yarn so you can continue. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, share out, and comment below. And until part 3, I will talk with you all soon. So work your way until you run out of yarn and you need part 3 to show how to fuse or tie your yarn together.